Hello everyone, welcome to today's review session. Today I am reviewing 3 games from the NAOL Season 17 Round 4. The first game is between MicheleGo 12Q as black and Yawa 4380 10Q as white. Let's jump right in. Opening, pretty good in this game actually. This opening is really nice, and we can actually see both players have a distinct style, where as you notice at this moment here, all of black's stones are on the third line, which that is not necessarily a bad thing. If you like territory, take territory. Whereas white's a more balanced player, and especially at the lower levels, DDK range for especially, as long as you are playing Joseki, that is a good thing. So I have no problems with what both players are doing here. Now, take a look at the sides here, right? Which side do you think is the most important for black to play in next? The left, top, bottom, or right? And that depends truthfully on style as well. Are you more of a Moyo player who wants to maybe build something like this? Or are you more of a, hey, let's split up the board. I'll take some stuff up top. You can play on the right side later. It really depends what you want to do. In the game black plays here, this is a little too early. The reason why is if there's no stone there, you do not get sealed in completely into the corner. Now, again, there are Josekis where I can choose where white instead takes the corner, but the idea is your corner is going to be healthy. And by healthy, I mean you won't have to most likely spend moves to have to live. But after white has played the Shamari at c14, the corner is now a lot smaller. So after this exchange here, if white had simply gone here, this result is amazing for white. White has completely sealed black in, and black still needs a move to live. So let's say black plays here into here. Again, the problem is this is Gote, right? White doesn't have any problems. White can go elsewhere. And even later, black still owes a move. So this is why the early 3-3 after the Shamari is something you don't want to do. Now, if you did want to play in the upper left, but let's say you didn't want to get kicked, instead you could play a move like this one, where you're asking, okay, white, are you going to let me into the corner? If white says no, then you're able to make some sort of base up top. And that's kind of the idea with any of these moves here, is when white protects the corner here, we almost want to give white the corner. Because as we saw, if we try to take it, it's small. So, okay, white, if you want the corner, let me give it to you, but I'm going to give it to you on a small scale. Like if you do it like this, sure, white is getting the corner, but we're able to use the fact that white wants the corner to get some forcing moves. So that you shouldn't want the corner immediately like this. But yeah, white Hane's here, which isn't a horrible move. And black plays a very nice move. I wish I knew this when I was a 12Q. I'll just say that. This is a very nice move. And black even understands it well. But even here, white, you just need to continue. Black is still not alive. And again, you can use that fact to get some really nice thickness pointing to the left side of the board. And black's still not alive, believe it or not. So, yeah. When white goes elsewhere, and black answers here, this is good. And white goes there, yes. When black stands up here, this is very painful against the 4 stones. It all has to do with liberties. So white connects slightly better to fix here. Slightly better. But white fixed there, and the black extended. And now look at the board in this position here. Kind of like how we looked at it here. You want to think about the board in slices. So this is a slice here. This is a slice here. Oh, empty slices, I should specify. So the spaces on the board that are still need development. So we can see black played in the upper left, which was pretty small. And so then white said, okay, let me take the right slice, the right side slice. And so then right here, what is now starting to become some of the bigger slices? Well, the bigger slices are obviously the bottom or the left side. So that should be the spaces both sides should be prioritizing. Now, it is true that black should probably continue locally because black technically is not fully alive yet. And so if black did something like this, there would be no problem with this. But black plays here. And this is a problem I see a lot of weaker players fall into the trap of, is they feel they need to get rid of all of their opponent's points. So it's like, okay, oh, white, you're getting maybe 12 points there. I can't let you have that. So black immediately comes in. But this is going to hurt black in the long run. So white descends. This is a very good move. This is a very good move. Black Hanes, it's good. Black just gave it up. So I like black's technique here. I do like black's technique. The problem is N17 for P18 is a very bad exchange for black because white can play at R18. And after white has R12, black's upper right is very weak. Very, very weak. So that's why I don't like this exchange. Instead, what if black goes here instead? Black gets a bigger corner and creates a weakness in white's shape. If white has to fix, white is now overconcentrated. Now white will not fix, shouldn't fix, but eventually there's going to be a problem there. White will have to do something about that eventually. So you don't need to be so quick to try to get rid of your opponent's points, especially when early on you should really be focusing on building and not getting rid of your opponent's points. That's a big problem I see a lot of players have in the Q levels is getting rid of points as opposed to building. So right here, once again, there's moves in the upper right white can play or play on the bottom or the left side. It's just a simple move here. Can't be bad, right? It's mapping out fourth line territory on the left side. In the game, white goes here, which again, it's the right idea, but notice when black blocks, black makes a tiger's mouth. So we want to take that shape point. So that's why R18 is the correct move here. But after this exchange, white goes here. Not necessarily a bad move, but based on what happens, it becomes a bad move, I guess I should say. Because black Hanes, this is very nice. Hane, connect. And then white just leaves it. So the question is, why did white play this move then? This move would make sense if white had simply just connected here. And I actually like this for white. If black has to connect somehow, then you can play a move on the bottom. But at least you're connecting up this stone you just played. Otherwise, why not just play your move on the bottom right now? There's no reason to play H16. And notice, white forced black to make this exchange here, which hurt white's shape here. There's now cuts to worry about. So, yeah, white just kind of abandons it to play here. Now, whenever you are playing, and again, this is a concept that is difficult to master. So I would say if you are a weaker player struggling with this, just try your best with what I'm about to tell you. And it's not going to work immediately, but you just gotta try, right? You just gotta try. So how do you invade areas, right? Because white now did play in the right area. The bottom side and the left side are probably equalish. And again, it depends on style. Do you want to play a Moyo style, like Moyo versus Moyo? Or do you want to split up the board? So white plays here. When you play a move like this, you have to realize, okay, when I'm on the fourth line, I can't make a base. And the reason why I can't make a base is because black's stones nearby are low. And so let's say black just simply jumps. If we extend here, because I'm on the fourth line and black stone here is on the third line, I can just take out the base. And so this is the problem you're going to run into if you play on the fourth line here. So when you play on the fourth line, what you are saying is, I do not want to make a base. I just want to run out. And so the question is that what white wants? Maybe, maybe not. Again, it's not like there's a lot of points there to begin with. So then the next question is, okay, what if we played on the third line, like this? If we play on the third line, let's say black plays the same jump. Now when we extend, you can see there's still Aji on the bottom to take out black's or white's base, but it's a lot harder, right? White would be able to at least get some forcing moves in doing so, right? Something like this. But the idea is, if you can make a comfortable base, you should do that. If you cannot, instead of just kind of throwing a stone in the middle of the area, which is just what it kind of looks like, you want to play threatening moves. You want to play moves that threaten. So here, I want to look for any low stones. So specifically, I'm looking at J3 or R5. Those are the two stones I'm looking at. And you simply want to shoulder hit. This should be how white comes in. Because when you play here, since you're not touching any of black's stones, black can kind of decide how to handle this, right? Black can go here, black can cap, black can ignore you because you're not playing forcing. What if black just instead splits the left side? But by shoulder hitting, it's a more forceful way of playing. Because if black ignores, let's say it goes on the left side, then your next response, now locally, white is somehow stronger. And whatever black does, let's say black extends here, always jump. Shoulder hit and jump. This should be kind of either way black plays. Shoulder hit and jump. This should be standard in your repertoire. Not much thought needed. And the idea is just treat this stone at K4 lightly. If black really wants this stone, let black have it. You can see every time black tries to get it, or wants to get it, black's spending, what, 6 stones to surround a few points? So it's not worth that much. And again, same thing the other way. Just let black take that stone if black wants it. And again, because everything is so tight-knit, if black ever ignores, your shape actually gets very nice. So that's what you want to look for if you're invading. Can I make a base on the third line? And if I can't, look to shoulder hit. Now, black does something you don't want to do if your opponent invades you, is touch this stone. Because when you touch stones, they get stronger. So white very happily just extends, makes a weakness, yes, jumps. Here, you want to play here as black. This hurts white shape while helps your liberties. So now this cut here is going to be less potent. Notice after this, and black connects, there's a weakness at J2. Because this threatens a double Atari. If white has to fix, white can simply Hane, and black starts to have problems with liberties. So this is it's another key shape here. White comes out. And then white plays the left side, yes. And then black comes in. And notice how black actually does do a shoulder hit. So here, as white, we want to attack this, of course, right? And black's friends are nearby on the bottom. If we simply jump, black ignores us, which black does. This is correct. So instead, we have to ask ourselves, okay, can we attack the bottom? Well, I'm looking at all these black stones, and not really. So black is strong on the bottom. Even though a second ago I said don't touch weak stones because they get stronger, if you touch strong stones, they're already strong. So them getting stronger doesn't really mean that much. So instead of playing here, white should play here. Because if black ignores, like in the game, your follow-up is more severe on the bottom. If black simply answers, though, then you can play maybe this sort of capping move. So white had the right idea, just the wrong execution here. White said this is a very powerful move, and black jumps. Hane. I like this sequence here by white. Atari. And then play there. Yep, almost force black to push through their own shape. Yes. And then I see this so much. Notice how white is the one attacking black, right? Black is not alive on the left side. If white has simply thought about profiting, whatever's about to happen would not have happened. But white saw blood in the water and kind of goes all out and pays dearly for it, and we'll see that. Like, for example, here. Black is so far away from the stones here. If white simply just Haned here, this connects up white stones and threatens the top. If black answers up top, now black is just running into white stones, right? This is a problem for black. But notice white goes here, which is not necessarily bad, but goes here. Black pushes. White plays here, splitting. Black jumps. White wedges. And this is actually a pretty nice sequence, I gotta admit. But in a few moves, we notice, and all of white's moves here are very strong. So like right here, white can simply just play here. And if black wants to connect, what you have to realize is white. Did black make any points in the last dozen moves they played? No, right? Black just made dame. What did we get? We secured the left side. In this variation, we would get some profit up top, and we've created some thickness in the center. So if we just like cut here next turn, remember, black can't Atari down because there's weakness on this side, so black's going to lose something on the bottom. But white blocks, and in the process gets cut off. And so, yeah, there's just no need to do this. This happens in the final game we look at too, where you feel like you're attacking, and then all of a sudden, wait, I'm the one getting attacked. So, yeah, this move's very good actually. This is the only move in the position. Play there, yep. If white had played one extra exchange, white would be okay here. All white needed to do, and this is a common technique that 99 out of 100 times you can just do and it'll be okay, is throw in. Throw in to get rid of liberties. Notice after throwing in, and then we Atari, when black blocks here, black is not threatening to make two eyes in the corner. We can just connect. And white's going to win the semi-eye. Black has 3 liberties, white has more than 3. But when white doesn't throw in, and white has to connect there, when black plays here, notice black has mi-eye. White connects, we can live here. If we throw in, black is alive like this. And so we basically did like this, where we made black fill in the spot here at C19. So that's why if you can throw in, especially when we're talking about liberties, if there's a semi-eye coming up, yeah, you want to throw in. Here, this is okay. Obviously, you need to do something to fix, but it's better to play here. Because if black extends, you can still save. So, and then same thing here, a little better to just extend here. But after black's able to run out like this, and the top is dead, white is just really far behind. Now, right here, white has a chance. Because once again, the upper right has a lot of weaknesses. And all I'm looking for, or like if you're kind of lost on how to decide how to play in the upper right, just look for forcing moves or look for techniques that you know. So for example, I'm looking at the clamp here. I'm looking at the peep here. I'm looking at the peep here because it's a one space jump. I'm looking at the hane here. And that's how you kind of want to start out in the reading. And so I think if white clamps and black, let's say black descends, and then white can peep here, I think something's going to work for white. And all I did was look for my forcing moves. Where if black blocks, then we Atari here, and notice we're able to connect. If black blocks like this, then we get some sort of ko here. So white has something in the upper left. And this would be the perfect timing, because after we turn here, we have sealed in the upper right. And that's what you want to do first. Seal in the corners, and then try to kill them. But yeah, after that, black's able to get some forcing moves on the right side here to be able to live. And yeah. So white goes here. One final thing about this game is white can simply just connect, and now because white's connected, white never needs to fill in the liberties here, which aka means filling in my own points. But when white plays here and then plays here, notice white has now just gotten rid of 2 points, when white could have simply, even here, just connected, and black can never go there. So minor optimization there, but yeah, and again, this was kind of the final move here because there was that Aji on the bottom, and yeah, they just went on, and I'll go through the game, but here there wasn't. Yeah, white can definitely push first before you do anything. Yeah, but actually there's one final thing in this game. The cool kind of Seki problem kind of appeared. Yep, endgame, endgame, endgame. Okay, right here. This is pretty cool. So notice, black goes here. Is that Sente? No, white is alive. Now black wants to play a move there because this move's actually quite big for white, because now black owes a move at to fix here. Now I guess technically, since black has to fix here anyways, it's not that big of a deal. But black can at least save 1 point here by simply descending. By descending, this is actually threatening a Seki in the corner. Black can go here, like this. So black can threaten the Seki, and Sente, white has to block, and then black can play a big endgame like A14, which is a big endgame. So yeah, so minor optimization there, but not worth that much. And yeah, I believe the end result was black by like 47-ish, something like that. So yeah, and it went down to white was doing okay, but just kind of, again, smelled blood in the water and lost the top. And even in white's, to give white some credit, like something did work there if white had just thrown in the top. So yeah, but that's why if you're attacking, you don't have to kill things. You can just take a deep breath and just, okay, where can I profit from this? And go from there. You don't need to kind of roll the dice and try to win in one move or in a couple moves. So yeah. Okay, that's the first game. Let's move on to the second game. Okay, here we are. On to game 2. We have Buzzsaw as black versus Sharkanimal as white. Yeah, let's take a look. Look at that. And the white splits. Again, this makes perfect sense. And then black plays here, which is a little unorthodox, but again, can't say it's necessarily bad. Again, as long as you're comfortable with the opening you're playing and you're not playing anything egregiously bad, you can play what you want. And then white goes here. So this move is already, again, this move is not bad. But as you'll see how white plays, it becomes a bad move. Because on the next turn, black goes here, which this is correct. Because now white has a dilemma. Do I block here kind of and make my stone at k4 that I just played kind of make sense? Right, if we do something like this, k4 is a nice spot, but the left side is technically bigger. So in the game, white blocked on the left side, which again makes sense, but white almost abandons the stone there. Right, and now a move we had just played is now baseless and has no friends nearby. So yeah, instead, white should... If white went to play on the bottom, white should play a move like f3. Or again, if you want to play a move here, you have to make it make sense. And so then white would just have to block on the bottom and then go from there. Something like this maybe. So yeah, now if white had simply just extended, while this isn't necessarily bad, it does mean, like, again, you are connecting the stone up, but it's now a stone that's not going to be worth a lot of points. So... yeah, white goes there. This is correct by black. Push, and then connect, yes. And then white goes here. Yeah, again, by trying to connect, it's actually going to be worse for white because you're actually making more weaknesses. Because now there's a weakness here. There's a weakness here. And this is the move black should play. Because white is just going to collapse somehow. White's just going to collapse somehow. If white, let's say, makes good shape on the left side, but black just Ataris through and connects. And once again, this bottom side is isolated. If white extends here, or let's say extends here, the next move is, like, you could descend like this and then play here, but we're going to get a position where now you're going to get heavy in white's area. So instead, the next move might look strange, but once I explain it, it'll hopefully make sense. Play a move that just limits liberties is all I'm going to say. Think about liberties here. Black can play here. And this move is sneakily very good. Because if white blocks, which is a very natural move to play, there's just problems when black Ataris here. White simply cannot save. And it's because all we did was take away liberty. If white fixes like this, then black is now getting into the left side. And this, while it might not feel big, this is actually quite huge. This is quite huge because black's corner is expanding and we're now getting into the left side. So yeah, very, very dangerous. Now, I guess if black wants to immediately go here, this is also possible. But again, it's not, I guess it is pretty clean cut. So yeah, lots of ways black can play here. But black just goes elsewhere. And that's why here, white shouldn't try to connect. White should just fix the one weakness here. And yeah, go from there. Black goes there. Then we play here. Yep, this is all correct. And once again, when you are... This is point number 2 from an earlier point I was trying to make in the last game, is how to invade. is you want to look for weaknesses. So once again, there's a ton of weaknesses here black can use to their advantage, simply by cutting or by haneing. So when you're invading, you want to look for weaknesses, because if you invade an area that has a lot of enemy stones, you're just going to be outnumbered. So you gotta have to find almost a tactical maneuvering to outnumber. Think of Go is often akin to war, right? And whenever, if you look at history, whenever two armies that are of different sizes fought, how did the army with less men on it win battles? They had to play tactically. They had to use their opponent's weakness against them. And it's the same thing here. So when black goes here, one, if we look at sector line, black is way in deep. And two, there is technically a weakness here black is looking at, but compared to the weaknesses here, if white just kicks here, it's just going to be bad news for black. Yeah. So if anything, again, I would just hane or cut here, but also you don't need, again, kind of like in the last game, even though white is threatening to take the left side, you don't need to go in. Just think about, where can I make points? And you'll start to realize, oh, if white starts to solidify the left side, that's all white has. Whereas black has 4 corners and can continue to expand the upper right, can potentially attack the right side later on. Like, whenever you are playing a game, it's a game of chicken. Don't be the first one to invade, because you're going to be attacked. Now, white goes here. I'm not really sure why, to be honest. Again, if we think about fundamentals as well, when you have an opponent that invaded you, you want to push towards your thickness. And so this would be pushing black away from the thickness. Now, white has an okay idea if white had played here. Now, it would be better to even do hane and play here, because again, all we're thinking about is profit. So if black jumps here, our profit becomes A18. And this really hurts the upper left. If black answers, then maybe we can play on top like this. So, yeah. Otherwise, just playing here, again, if you think about it, if black doesn't, or if black does live, the value of B14 is very small. So, yeah, that's why I'm questioning B14. Play there, yes. Black kicks. Once again, I would just Atari here. Because even if black can live, once again, if we extend here, this threatens B17. But also, even if black lives here, let's say black is alive, right? Which I think, yeah, black can technically still live, but let's say like that, okay? Let's look at this result here. Not only have we sealed black in Sente, we can still play here, which threatens the upper left. We have actually, black has helped us solidify our left side, and we have Sente. And how many points does black make? Black makes 2 points. You know what other move would have been 2 points for black? If black had played, I don't know. This is even more than 2 points. But if black had gone here, that would have been more points than what black made in this variation. Which is once again why you can be patient. You can be patient as the attacker and as invading. Because black, and it kind of happens in the game, but black does not make a lot of points here. So, yeah, again, same thing here. Just, well, here you have to fix, but yeah, like I would just seal black in like this. Let black live small, and we just have Sente. So, yeah, going there, you have to make sure you can get a good result. But now, like this move also connects up the left group, whereas when you let black jump here, white's not alive in the upper left now. So, yeah. And here we actually see very good shape knowledge by black. Once again, this move, your thickness is on the left side here, so you want to play from this direction, push white towards it, but it's okay. But black jumps, table shape, dog face. So I really like how black's playing this. Cap, dog face again. So yeah, black definitely understands. Maybe black gets into danger a lot in their games because they seem to understand good shape very well. Black, white took, black connect here. Okay. Put yourself in white's shoes. What is the biggest move on the board here? What is the biggest move on the board if you were white? Something on the bottom maybe, something up top especially. White goes here. The major problem with this move is, one, how many points do I make with this move? In one move, like if I get another move, I can make maybe 2 points, 2 to 3 points. In Gote, and whenever you are evaluating a position, you have to add that, what's the term? You have to add that little title at the end. Is it in Sente or Gote? Because if this was Sente, sure, get it. But as long as there's a move bigger than, let's see, if we play here, it's worth, well, it even takes another move to do it, so maybe half a point. And for black to go there, black gets 4 points. So we're talking about a 4.5 point swing here. Gote for both sides. So as long as there is a move bigger than 4 points on the board, you should definitely take it. So yeah, and maybe white was still thinking, oh, I can attack black. But as we can see, like black is pretty solid in the center. So yeah, this is a big chance for white to do something else, like maybe go here. Because black just ignores, which is correct. White kicks. Black goes there. Black blocks. Slightly better to play here. Ever so slightly better to play here. It's just better shape. As opposed to just making the empty triangle there, but it's okay. White blocks. Black jumps. And then white goes through. Yeah, this was the final big spot on the board. Black kicks and jumps. So again, I can tell black shape knowledge is very, very good. Very, very good. White goes there. Black Hanes, yes, this is a deceptively big move. And again, it has to do with Sente. If white goes elsewhere, black can continue to reduce. So whenever you're evaluating evaluating how much a move is worth, it's not just the immediate value. You have to consider, what about any follow-ups? And after this, there's just nothing white can do. If you descend, I can cut. And you're just going to lose some stones. So if white has to connect, notice black didn't just play like a couple points in the corner. Black is now ripping out white's entire left side. So yeah, this is actually a big move. Even though it's second line territory we're talking about, if you can scoop up a couple of those, you can swing a dozen points in a few moves. So yeah, like for example, let's say white was able to get that. Let's say black goes here and white goes here. Again, not immediately Sente, but if white gets another move, this move is pretty big. You know, black has to answer. So we're talking the difference between not that variation, I guess the game variation, right? Yeah, here. We're talking about here. Sorry, where is it? Here. Yeah. This one and this one. That is a pretty big swing. That is a pretty big swing. So this is the correct time to do this. This is correct by black. Play there and then here. So this is and I'm speaking from experience here because I remember struggling with this next thing I'm about to explain. You need to be comfortable attaching. You need to start to be comfortable with attaching. So when can we attach? Generally speaking, pretty often. Actually, if we're talking about this position where we have two different colored stones on the third line, this is generally the better move to play. Why? Because if white had simply just connected, well, first off, if white had connected, black's shape is worse, right? White's shape is pretty solid because white stones are connected. So they share liberties, whereas blacks do not. But also it's less Sente. It is less Sente. Whereas I bet if you go here, white's not going to jump here, right? It's too painful now. But okay, well, can't white capture? Yes, but that is almost what we want here. So if white even extends to say, okay, I can even get more liberties. Well, you can Atari, block here, Atari, and notice white captures the stone, right? Okay, white captures the stone, but how many stones did it take to capture it, right? White gets 2 points and maybe a point here, right? So white got 3 points with this exchange using how many stones? A lot. To simply put, a lot of stones. And so we'd actually be okay with this as black. And even if white simply goes here, the same thing, we can Atari. If white takes, we can Atari again. And if white connects, then we can Atari again. So even though white captures the stone, we're actually going to make it very uncomfortable to capture it. So in a lot of cases, white will actually just block here and let us extend back. But compare that to what could have happened in the game, obviously that would be a lot better. So again, this is a case, if you are trying to get better, this is a case where you just kind of have to experiment with it. Just start experimenting with the attachments. There's a habit you have to form Otherwise, you'll just never do it. So white jumps. And then we get into black starts to get a little wishy-washy here, and you'll see what I mean. Because then black plays here. So black's playing on the bottom now. And then white goes here. So then black plays on the right. And then white plays here. And then black plays on the left. So you can see black is going back and forth here. And there's a lot of bad Aji if white was able to play here, which is why I would be scared as black here. So instead of playing this move, which if you notice, we have a knight's move that we just we allowed white to rip straight through. So instead of that, I would just fix like this. Play away from white's strength there, because that's what white has. White has 2 stones that are strong. And okay, maybe white can Hane here. Well, actually white can't, but if white just extends here, there's no issues. There is no issues there. So you can see black plays left side, then has to play right side. So in doing so, we're actually hurting both of our sides here. And while I was reviewing this game, I was trying to find a way to make this work for white. Nothing works immediately, so I won't bog this review down with needless variations. But you can just see like things can get very dicey very quickly. If you imagine something like this, right? Yeah. Very, very dangerous for both sides, technically. But again, this was all black's area anyways, so it's not like white would lose anything. So, yeah, this would be a perfect example of flower co for white. So, yeah, very, very dangerous. And it's a case where white didn't do anything. This was all black forcing white. So, yeah. Black connected, which was correct, and then we kind of just have an endgame. Little optimization here. White can go here, because in a few moves, black Hanes, and then white has to fix anyways. So white could have just fixed to begin with, and now white, instead of fixing it with 1 move like this, fixed it with 2. So a little optimization there. Play there, yes. And yeah, just there's a few mistakes here and there, but overall, like, pretty solid game. And if you look at this game, it's a black sheep of games, because what do you think the score is? And before you answer that, let me just remind you that black not only has all 4 corners, but also the center. Now I know the old adage or proverb is, if black has all 4 corners, if white has all 4 corners, black should resign, and if black has all 4 corners, black should resign. I may have just repeated the same too, but you get what I'm saying. Whichever side if one side has all 4 corners, black should resign. But in this case, black also has the center. But even with that, so then the question is, what do you think the score is? Because the final score of this game, if we keep going, yep, that was big, is black wins this game, but I believe by 4.5 points. 4.5 points. Which, again, black has all 4 corners and the center. That surprised me even. So, yeah. So for white in this game, when you have a weak group to attack, you kind of have to gauge like how valuable are the moves I am getting while I'm attacking. You have to look for your profit. And for black, I would say, while you did invade early on and you did successfully live, notice how your group made 4 points, right? Just 4 points here, while white secured the surrounding area. So always remember, if you have a game with a Moyo, you don't want to be the first one to invade. And if you do invade, look for weaknesses like cuts on the bottom, or, and I should have mentioned this earlier, look for Sabaki. Treat your stones lightly. Don't try to save every single stone, because if you can save even half of the stones you played, well, that's half of your stones that are invading white's area successfully, which is better than none. So, yeah. Pretty solid game from both sides, actually. That was a pleasant game to review. So, yeah, on to the final game. Oh, thank you. He gave me a little heart attack. Okay, I see. I didn't know someone was there, so I was awesome. All right, here is the 3rd and final game for this review session. We have Solens as black and Penguinsss as white. 3 S's. So, yes. And this game, the crux of this game happens pretty early on, actually. We're kind of similar to the first game. White had a chance, had like a perfect position to attack. And instead of thinking about profit, they went for the kill. And what often happens when you go for the kill, it comes around to bite you back. And white ends up, spoilers, white ends up dying on a large scale. So we'll see that. So white plays solens. And then black comes in, which I would recommend, again, when your opponent's building a moil, to try to avoid it. So I would just play on the right side here. I'm using a stone at R14 to support this approach. So if white ever pincers, that stone at R14 is going to aid in helping my stones in the lower right. But you can also come in here. Play there, yes. Again, the problem here is that when white kicks you, the stone at K4 is in the perfect spot where you would like to play. So that's kind of the issue with the playing inside. And also, again, we got to prioritize points. I'm looking at these stones at F3, and I'm just thinking, I don't know where my points are going to come from. So I would say, though, if you have the stone at K4, you definitely want to play high, because you should want to attack these stones on the bottom. Whereas when you play low, oops, not there. If you play low, you're playing a little further away from those stones, so you're putting a little bit less pressure on those 2 stones. So black jumps out. This is correct. This is correct. This is threatening shoulder hits. So when white goes here, black should shoulder hit. Again, shoulder hits are generally sente, and this will help black black's group on the lower left. But black goes in again, and so we get this position where black not only has one set of stones in the lower left that don't have a base, but also stones in the lower right. And so black even goes here. There's even a chance for black to play on the second line here, which again, you don't want to be playing second line moves at move 19 in a game, unless I guess you're playing in the 3-3. But yeah, this would not feel great, I guess, as black. But when black plays here, now black has successfully cut themselves off. And so this should be the perfect game for white, because white has everything lined up perfectly. I have a weak group in the lower left and a weak group in the lower right. And so, again, the main focus of this review is going to be how not only should white have handled it, but also black. Black jumps out, and then white turns. So here, if I turn and black extends here, we should take our opponent's move. So white can clamp, and this move would take away black's space. This move would take away black's space. And so, yeah, this move is just so much better. So much better. There's just not really a good move for black. If we go here, you see we're just going to be stuck on the second line, and with maybe an eye. And if we go on top, then white connects, and yeah, similarly, now we're just floating in the center. So just turning here, yeah, that actually makes black rather comfortable. And then white jumps out. So this is correct. Keep black separated. Black goes here, yes. White splits, yes. Then black goes here. So first off, as black here, you just want to think about getting out of this area. Just avoid this area as possible. Again, playing shoulder hits like this as forcing moves, right? If white wants to stay connected, let's say white stays connected, and then just kind of jumping out into the center. Just jumping out into the center. When you play a move inside still, white can now poke at your shape here, right? Now, if white jumps here, now there's issues in your shape here. Whether at the elephant eye or maybe attaching at F6, there's a lot of problems that could happen. White's problem here is going directly at it, and the reason is, don't go after the tail. If you are attacking, don't go after just one stone. Notice white successfully cuts off one stone, but that's it. White has gotten one stone and actually made black infinitely stronger on the lower left, right? White forced black to connect all of their stones, which you don't want to do. For example, there's just immediate danger if black attaches here and peeps. This is a very common technique you see when we have this shape after the 2-space jump here. Is this attach at D5 when white blocks, peep at the 3-3 spot. And when that board is empty, it's okay for white. But once the board starts to fill up and black has a basically thickness right here, it starts to be a lot more potent. So even if white has to back off like this, well, now black can make an eye at any time here, and black can make an eye at f2. Black is 100% alive. So again, instead, don't just go after the one stone. Keep attacking the whole group like this. Right there. Yes. And then there. Oh, not there. Black jumps out. The white jumps out. And black goes there. Here. And then so here, we got to think about efficiency. So there is... It's a little hard to see, but there is some danger for white if white goes elsewhere of this push and cut here. If white connects, black can play at this spot here, and yeah, there's just a lot of bad potential here if black's able to, well, because directly white can just Atari here, but black can play here. So it's just there's just a lot of nasty aji there. So I agree with white connecting, but we have to think about efficiency. This move here does one thing. Does just one singular thing. So we have to ask ourselves, okay, I want to fix my one space jump there because of the cuts. Can I fix and try to be a little more efficient? Is there anything else I can do here? And so white can play here. Notice if black pushes, we have fixed that weakness. And that's the whole idea, is being efficient. When we just go here, this does one thing. One thing. So we got to think to be a little more efficient by playing this kind of move. Otherwise, it's just a little too slow. Black goes there. Atari and Hane. So after this, black has now made it so at any time, black can connect and live. This is in a live shape. But it's actually quite small to do that, because if we're just living with, 3 or 4 points, it's actually not worth it. But black has set up almost I to live. So after this, black should help the bottom right now, maybe with this turn. Again, there's a lot of moves possible, but black should help the lower right. Otherwise, when black fixes here, again, it's only worth a couple points. So white goes there. Yes, black jumps. Once again, we have to look at where can we profit. If we simply just seal black in, black has to live small. Black has to live with just a few points. Again, and in Gote, black lives with just 4 points. This should feel like a win for white. But white goes, again, for the throat. And basically gambles the entire game, because all of these moves have potential to lose points. And so there's no need at move, 52, to try to go for the killing blow when we have hundreds of moves to play still. So, yeah, this is very dangerous. Like, even right here, if black had descended instead, black's just alive, and white's bleeding points now. Connect. Black plays there. Once again, these exchanges are pretty bad for white, because notice black's able to get into the right side now. Why was black able to get into the right side? Because white's trying so hard to try to kill this. So, yeah. Here, black has the right idea. Black needs to cut here first. And the whole point of this cut, don't view this cut as I'm making another problem for myself as black. View it as a problem for white. View this cut as white has to do something now with this cut. And white does, because immediately there's problems at Q3. So if we Atari down like this, same problem. There's still problems at S3. So now white has to decide, how do I fix? And it's not super clear. So if white blocks here, and when we get this Atari, and when we connect, white is starting to have liberty problems. And white can't extend liberties per se, because when we force black to go here, we start to worry about our own liberties. So the crux of this position is black just needs to live. And for example, if white has to start getting rid of liberties like this, black can make an eye on the side. And again, white could have, if we look at this variation here, taken the entire right side. That's a huge right side for white to take, while black makes a few points. But since white went crazy trying to kill everything, now white has to make something happen here. So I would just cut here, don't view cuts as your problem. View them as your opponent's, especially if the plan is we're just going to give it up eventually. So, yeah, black Ataris, Hanes, and once again, white, you don't have to do this, white. But white says, I got to kill. Atari. Yep. White goes there, but black just splits. And now look at the board now. White now needs to live on this in the bottom, but also these 4 stones can get captured. So this is the perfect example of black didn't kill white. White killed white here. Black was just responding to white. And even here, when white could at least save the stones on the bottom like this, white played here to make sure black doesn't get an eye here, right? Because white still has fever dreams of trying to kill this. So, yeah. So black connects, and white saved there. And black even pulled this out because black has the ladder. And, yeah, it just becomes a position of eye versus no eye, realistically. And, yeah, white just dies on a large scale on the bottom. Now, I will say, in a position like this, you have to realize something. Okay, as black, I have an eye, and white has no eyes. So that means if all my outside liberties are filled, and I guess let's demonstrate that. We'll even fill that in. I guess that's an Atari, and then, yeah, we'll go there, and there's a weakness there. Okay, so we have a position like this, eye versus no eye. This is a common kind of semi-eye that can occur, and it's very important to understand this. So, for white to be able to win the semi-eye, white needs to fill in all these liberties, right? But notice what happens when white fills in these liberties. If white ever fills in the liberty, white runs out of liberties themselves. White has 1 liberty left, and it's not even Atari still for white. And this is the power of eye versus no eye. And so what's about to happen in the game is what looks like both players not trying to read out the liberties. And so I would really highly recommend at least trying to read out the liberties. Because right here, there is no... First off, black has 2 outside liberties. And white has to be able to fill these inside liberties. But there's just no way to do it because white has no eyes. But black fills, white goes there, black fills. And so, yeah, I would really highly recommend trying to read this out. Because the only way to get better at this is if you try to read it out. But if you're just kind of playing here... And again, maybe the players did read it out. I'm not sure. OGS doesn't keep track of players' times when you save the games, unfortunately. But it looks like they're just filling in liberties. Yeah. But after this, like, black just has huge territory on the bottom. White didn't really gain anything from attacking because white just got a smaller right side. Yeah, here, minor thing, but you need to play this one. Otherwise, there's just... Playing here means black can peep and, yeah, and just kind of start to kill in almost 1 move. So, yeah, black cuts, so this is good. Atari, and then fix. White cuts. This is a minor thing, but if you can capture something in a net or a ladder, which one should you do? It's generally better to capture something in a net. So it's actually better for black to go here. Because when black played here, white actually played a very nice move of this. This is a ladder breaker. But because it's a ladder breaker, white was able to get a free move. And white didn't do it, but white would be able to surround these 2 stones and save the 5 stones in the center. But by going here, technically I guess white does get a free move with this peep. But you can see white doesn't get any other move that helps capture these 2 stones. Now, the other thing is, like, let's say in this position, if black actually just peeped and done this, white threatening to save that 1 stone actually, you can see actually is not that valuable. So actually white should probably just fix the group in the corner like this. Otherwise, just do what you did in the game like this. But, yeah, it's just... very after the bottom is just white's trying hard and white needs to do something, but there's just not. Black just plays very solidly later on here. This is a very common technique. When you're trying to kill a group, don't throw in on the inside. Oftentimes, it's better just to reduce with Hanes from the outside. If black just goes here, white's just going to die. Because if white blocks, you just keep reducing the eye space, and now I recognize this as a bulky 5. If white plays a move like this, similarly, we just take out the eye shape, and we just reduce from the outside. Whereas when black throws in like this, you're actually helping white. You're not reducing white's eye space, so white's able to make a ko here. Yeah, black doesn't take the ko, which was strange. Black can at least take the ko, but black just descends, goes there. Black kills the upper right, and yeah. White, again, the rest of this game is white trying to make something happen, but yeah, it's just black just kind of divides and conquers. So yeah, even black lets white connect. And yeah, similarly at the bottom, it's a case of eye versus no eye. And so like both sides do not need to be filling in liberties here. But yeah, let's just quickly go to the end. And I believe, what was the end score? Black by, I'll just say black by a lot, because black not only gets the entire upper right, but the bottom's huge and the left. So yeah. Pretty exciting game though, and again, I think white was in the driver's seats, but just keep in mind, white, when you are attacking, we're not trying to kill. Just try to surround. You want to squeeze your opponent down. Squeeze your opponent down to have to live small. That's the ideal scenario. Because it's so much harder to kill than it is to live. Because if black needs to live, all black needs is 2 eyes. And that's pretty hard to prevent on an empty board like it was early on. So just surround and just try to make their life as small as possible. But yeah, that was it for this week. I will see everyone for next week's review session.